Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hogue, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
I'm AJ Hogue, the author of Effortless English, Learn to Speak English Like a Native. Join my VIP program today. Train your English with me. Commit, don't quit at effortlessenglishclub.com. effortlessenglishclub.com. Become a member, commit, get those benefits. You can succeed, but you've got to commit to this training program, my VIP program, at effortlessenglishclub.com. Hello. I've got a baby with me again, so hopefully she'll be quiet. She just ate some food, but maybe if she starts crying, then I'll have to stop the show and try again later when my wife comes home. My wife's not home now, so just me watching the baby. A few announcements. Announcement number 1, my business English course, Business English Conversations, is coming back. Many people have asked about it. They want it. They've heard it's good, and it is good. So I'm going to offer and sell my business English course again. Maybe in a couple months. We need to put the files on our new system, and there's some technical things to do, but the course is already finished. Some of you already have done this course in the past, and it's a very good course if you are interested in improving your career, if you're interested in business English, those kind of topics, resumes, job hunting. This is a very good course. So it's coming probably in a couple months. I will tell you. Announcement number 2, I will interview Sri Dharma Pravartika Acharya. Long name. I will interview him in 1 or 2 weeks, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks, about the topic of natural law. We have been talking about this topic, natural law, or the Eastern word for this is dharma. Natural law, dharma, logos. Same ideas, basically. And, he's an expert on this topic. He is a Dharma teacher. Acharya is a title, which kind of means spiritual teacher. So that last word of his name is actually a title. Shri, I believe, is also kind of like saying Mr. or something like that, like it shows respect. So just the name is Dharma Pravartika. And I'm trying to remember his American name. I don't remember. He Dr. something. But his Dharma name, what they call Dharma name, is Dharma Pravartika. But anyway, he's an expert on this topic. Great teacher, wonderful writer. He's got some fantastic videos. His YouTube channel is Dharma Nation. YouTube channel. Really good. Check that out. But I'm very happy to interview him soon. I'll also tell you about that. I don't know the exact date yet. We're trying to find a schedule because he's in America and I'm in Japan. Topic number 3. I got a new book today. If you're watching on video, you can see this book. It's Aesop's Fables. Now, Aesop, this is famous. These are old stories going back to ancient Greece, I believe. We'll learn more about Aesop, who wrote this. But I realized that this Aesop's Fables, I'm going to do some lessons. I'll do some shows about these. A fable is a kind of story. So these are very, 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 very old, very classic stories. And what's great about them is they're very short. Each one is about 1 page. If you're looking at the camera, if you're watching, you can see they're like a very short page, maybe even half a page long. So they're short little stories, which is perfect for like our show. So I can read the whole thing. I can read the whole story. And I can teach you some of the vocabulary in the story. And also the other thing is these stories all have a meaning. There's kind of a deeper meaning to each story. The other good thing about Aesop's fables is many, many, many idioms. Many idioms in English. Probably other languages too, European languages. But certainly in English. Many of our idioms come from these stories. I mean, I can just open the book and I'll tell you right that. Things are not always what they seem. That's an idiom in English. Right? Asleep with one eye open. That's an idiom in English. Don't cry wolf. That's an idiom in English. They all come from Aesop's fables and many, many more idioms. So this is perfect. You know, Aesop's fables, these are classic. Like I said, these go back to ancient Greece. They're so old. They had a strong influence in English and really all European languages. I'm sure there are there are over 200 of these stories in this book, right? One per page. Good vocabulary. So we're going to do this. We're going to do some Aesop's fables. This is a really great way for me to do some free, short, and easy lessons with you where you can learn vocabulary. You can learn idioms. And also, we can talk about some great ideas because every story has an idea under it, a deep idea, a philosophical idea, something deeper about life and, to some wisdom. So all three of those, the three things we like to talk about. So it's great. Learn English, wisdom, great philosophical topics, and very short and simple in a classic book. This is perfect. We're going to do some Aesop's fables in the future. All right, we're live on Facebook, so let me just quickly say hello to everyone. People saying hello, as usual. Hamid says hello. Ooh, long name here. Butsri, that sounds Thai to me. Tina, hello. Ronan, hello. Lots of folks from Kurdistan saying hello, as usual. Somalia, Myanmar, Sudan, Myanmar again. Ukraine, hey, Alexander. Great to see you. Of course, lots of familiar names. Asma, hey there, in Egypt. Tan in Vietnam. Nice hat. Someone likes my hat. Hello from Thailand. Hey, that's Swati Krap. Iraq. Daif, great. Algeria. Kurdistan again. Iraq. Egypt. Hey, Taha. I love that picture, Taha, by the way. Very sweet picture you have there with your child. Abbas says hello. Kyrgyzstan. Kurdistan. From Kurdistan, one of the biggest fans. Iraq. Lots of countries. Where's your Bulldogs hat? Someone wants to know my Georgia Bulldogs hat. I have it. I'll wear it again. It's from Saudi Arabia, from Marianne. Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. We're just starting. Please, we're just starting, baby John. We are just starting. We don't want to have crying. All right, let me just make you a little more comfortable. Well, this might have been a bad idea. It seems whenever I start talking, baby starts crying. Elena from Ireland says hello. People saying hi to the baby. Now, by the way, the baby has eaten, so don't feel bad. Baby is not hungry. Nepal, Russia, lots of different countries. Patrick, hey, from in Uganda. Great, Patrick, hey, good to see you. Poland. Monica says hello in Poland. Okay, great. So lots and lots. Let's talk about our topic. Hopefully my baby will stay asleep. We'll see. Topic today is abstinence. Let's talk about this word abstinence. I'll start with a quote from St. Augustine. St. Augustine. An old, meaning, long ago, Christian saint. St. Augustine, very famous one, in fact. Here's the quote. Complete abstinence is easier than perfect moderation. Complete abstinence is easier than perfect moderation. All right, let's talk about what does this mean? Abstinence. Abstinence means to completely avoid something, to not take it, to not do it. 100%. Moderation, of course, means to do it not too much, not too little. For example, food. if you have food abstinence, the verb is abstain, to abstain. If you abstain from food, it means you don't eat at all, nothing. That's called fasting. If you are moderate with food, it means you eat, just enough. You don't eat too much, you don't eat too little. So what St. Augustine said from his experience is it's easier just to completely avoid things sometimes. That to just totally avoid it 100% is easier than trying to find the perfect balance. Now, of course, what was he talking about? Was he talking about everything? No, he was talking about sin or talking about harmful things. For example, or cravings, addictions. That's what he was talking about. So he was saying that for those things, it's easier just to avoid them completely, right? I talked about this before. If you're an alcoholic, it's much easier to just not drink. Don't drink at all. That's abstinence. Total abstinence is easier for an alcoholic than trying to just drink a little and not too much, because they can't control themselves. So if they try to drink a little, they always drink too much because they have this strong desire, they have this addiction, and so eventually they just start drinking more and more and more. And so the moderation for them is too difficult. It's much easier for an alcoholic, just don't drink at all. 100% stop drinking. Oh, my glasses. Yeah. So abstinence is easier than moderation, is what St. Augustine said. The other thing about abstinence, I think abstinence, right, totally avoiding things, is a great medicine. Great medicine for our time now, our modern time. Because what is our modern time, our modern media now? What do they want us to do? What do they push us to do? What do they call us in the media? Think about it. They call us consumers. Consumers. You will see this in the media all the time. Consumers. Not citizens. Not humans. Consumers, right? They're constantly describing people, normal people like you and me. They're constantly using this word for us. Consumer. 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 You're a consumer. I'm a consumer. What does that word mean? To consume means just to take in, like to eat. Right? It means you're putting something in, to take, to eat. It's often used for eating. It can also mean drinking. But in general, it's the general idea that you are eating, taking, using, buying, right? You're not a human. You're not spiritual. You're not someone with a soul. You're just a consumer that just buys and eats. That's what you are. You're a consumer. And what is modern media, advertising, everything? Constantly pushing us to consume. Consume, meaning to buy things, buy food, eat more. It's the opposite of abstinence. The exact opposites. There's a word called gluttony. Gluttony means eating too much, right? That's a kind of consuming. If it's money, then it's greed. It means it's just money. Get, spend. Consume. So the modern idea, the media idea, I should say, the media idea is that you and I, that we're like insects. We're like bugs, little bugs, right? Like a caterpillar, like a grasshopper, like a locust. What do? They just eat all the time. They eat everything, right? Farmers don't like them. Why? Because they'll come and they'll just eat all the plants. They just totally destroy everything. Just eating. Consuming. Until everything's destroyed. Then they go to another farm and same thing again. I mean, this is really making us think about it. It's kind of insulting that. This is their idea. What is a human being? What is a normal human being? A consumer. We are much, much more than that. So the reason I think that abstinence is so important now is that it's the perfect medicine for this sickness, this consumer mindset, this consumer sickness of more, because abstinence stops that. Abstinence is the opposite of that. Abstinence says, stop eating, stop buying, stop doing, stop consuming. That's what abstinence really means, to totally stop consuming something. And so it is actually a very, very, very powerful way to break the matrix, to break that mental disease that we all have somewhat, of wanting to consume, right? This control they have to just consume, spend money, sex, more sex. Food, more food, buy. Consume. How do you go against that? Abstinence is the perfect solution to that. So let's talk about that. Abstinence is a great medicine for this modern evil that we have. So how do we do abstinence? How do we do this in a beneficial way? What should we abstain from, right? Stop doing. Well, the first one is food. Food abstinence is very, very powerful. This is called fasting. Fasting, right? To fast, of course, you know the adjective fast means to go quickly, right? But this is a different meaning. When we use it as a verb, to fast, it means to abstain from food. Don't eat. It means to don't eat. There are different kinds of fasts. You can use it as a noun. A fast is like a time when you're not eating. So what do you abstain? Well, one type is you abstain from all food, right? That's a true fast. No food at all. Total abstinence from food. You don't eat. Not forever, of course, because you'll die, but for some time period, maybe one day, maybe half a day, only in the day and you eat at night, maybe for 1 week. There's all different schedules you can do, but whatever the schedule, the idea is you don't eat at all. That's a total fast. Or you can abstain from just some foods. So you still, for example, you could have a juice fast. This is another popular fast, especially in the United States. A juice fast means you only drink fruit and vegetable juice. That's all. You don't eat any food. No solid food, no meat, no solid vegetables, no milk, none of that. Just fresh fruit and vegetable juices only. So that's called a juice fast because you're only drinking juice only, and you're abstaining from everything else. You're avoiding everything else. Some people will do what's called a carb fast, C-A-R-B, carbohydrate, meaning sugar. That's where they avoid all carbohydrates, all sugars. So they'll eat meat, they'll eat fat and protein, but they avoid all sugars, all carbs. That's also a kind of fast. You get the idea. But the idea is you're avoiding food, all of it or some of it. And fasting has great benefits, by the way. I just did a little research about this. Just a quick research about it. And there are a lot of scientifically, researched benefits, physical benefits, mental benefits, emotional benefits, and also some very deep spiritual and religious benefits to fasting. So let's talk about it. Number one, benefits of fasting. This is from my own experience and also just a little bit of research that I've done. Number one, you regain self-control. This is great. Fasting helps you get control over yourself, over your emotions. You get more self-discipline, more self-control for all life, not just for food. When you fast, I don't know what happens, but it's like your self-control muscle in your mind. It's not really a muscle, but it's kind of like this, right? It's like your power, your self-control power grows. By not eating, you also get more motivation, more discipline for anything else, for studying, for work, for doing things in your family, for exercising. This will help all. It increases your self-control. when you fast, when you abstain from food. Number 2, it's a great way to lose weight if you're fat burning. Now, of course, when you fast, your calories go down, you're eating less. That's obvious. That helps you lose fat. But the other thing is that there's some chemical things that happen in your body. Your insulin controls your blood sugar. It improves. The insulin system, the blood sugar system in your body will become improved from fasting. This is great for diabetics, people who have diabetes. Now, if you have diabetes, be careful, okay? You can't just suddenly fast. You might have a very serious problem. So you have to do it in a gradual way, in a controlled way, so that you make sure you're very careful about this. Talk to a doctor about it before you do it. But still, it can help. It can definitely help prevent diabetes and other blood sugar problems when you fast fairly regularly. It will help your blood sugar system. It will increase human growth hormone. Human growth hormone. When you fast, human growth hormone goes up in your body. What is this? Well, it's a chemical in your body. Your body makes it. And, one benefit is that it helps your body repair damage, right, to heal. The other advantage is that it helps you build muscle. It tells your body to build more muscle. So a lot of bodybuilders will use fasting at different times. When they're building muscle, they have to eat a lot. They need the calories, the protein especially. So because this helps. But they will also do some fasting at different times because that will help increase human growth hormone, which helps them build more muscle, which is kind of interesting. It's disease healing. When you fast, you will heal diseases. If you're sick, it helps you get better. I do this all the time. This is kind of one of my main medicines, my physical medicines. Before I go to a doctor, I will fast. So usually, imagine if I start to get a cold. I'm just starting to get a cold. Starting to feel like I'm getting a little sick. First thing I do is I try to eat healthier, avoid sugar, and I'll take extra vitamin C and maybe some herbs, some other things. I'll do that. Usually that's enough, and then I don't get sick. Sometimes I'll still get sick after that. So if I get sick and those other things are not working, then I will fast. I just stop eating completely. I just drink water, and it works. In a few days, I always get better. In a few days, I start to feel better. It helps your body heal. It's a natural healing system of fasting. It's really, really good. Another benefit of fasting is brain health. It's healthy for your brain. It's good for your brain. Too much sugar in your blood is not good for your brain. And so this, helps your blood sugar get more healthy level. And this is good for your brain. There have been some research about this, that fasting is good against depression. If you're sad and depressed, if you fast often, or for a longer time, after several days, your depression will be less. You'll feel better. I can tell you from my experience, your thinking becomes so much more clear. Sometimes your brain is a little, maybe we call foggy in English. Foggy meaning a little not clear. And when you fast, after a few days of fasting, your mind becomes so sharp, so clear. Your memory's better. Your thinking is more clear and better. Your thinking is faster. It really helps with your brain and for thinking. Problem solving, all of this is all improved by fasting. You'll live longer. In general, people who fast regularly have a longer life span, right? Meaning they live a little bit longer, several years longer than other people who don't fast. Reduced cravings. This is connected to self-control. You'll find that your powerful desires will go down. Mahatma Gandhi talks about this. He talked about this in his book. Mahatma Gandhi fasted a lot. A lot of his book, Mahatma Gandhi's book, is about fasting, not about politics. He writes more about fasting than he does about politics. It's quite interesting. He was very enthusiastic about fasting and the benefits of fasting. And one of the big benefits that Gandhi talked about in his book is this reducing your cravings, right? Those addictions, those desires. When you fast, when you don't eat food for a while, your desire for food will eventually drop, of course, but your desire for sex will go down. Your desire for all unhealthy things drops during a fast. It's interesting. That's why he did it. And he also did it when he got sick. And then finally, there is the very deep spiritual benefits, which is why all of the major religions have a fasting tradition and talk about fasting and encourage fasting. Right now, Ramadan, right? So Muslims are fasting right now. As I mentioned, Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, long tradition of fasting. Again, Mahatma Gandhi was a devout Hindu, and this is another reason he did it. Christianity has fasting and other traditions of abstinence, such as Lent, Lent. Catholics will know this. Buddhism certainly has a long tradition of this. I don't know about Sikhism. If there are any Sikhs, you can tell me in the comments. But you get the idea, right? So they're spiritual. It makes prayer. We talked about prayer recently. It's kind of makes your prayers more powerful, more deep, and also meditation. Definitely helps meditation. And this is why the Sanatana Dharmis and the Buddhists do it, because it's connected to clearing your mind, that your mind calms down and becomes more peaceful, more clear, more pure. So all of these amazing benefits to fasting, abstaining from food. Now, fasting is one kind of abstinence. We can also abstain from sex. This is another message we get. Watch TV now. Watch movies. It's sex, sex, sex. Advertising, magazines. Is sex evil? No, of course not. Of course it's not. Money's not evil. Food is not evil. But addiction to food is very, very bad. Addiction to money, worshiping money, is evil. Addiction to sex, running around trying to have sex with lots and lots and lots of people uncontrolled, is evil and unhealthy, right? So that's the point. It's the addiction, it's the worship, it's the lack of discipline is the problem. And so some people have a sex addiction, men and women both. They have trouble controlling it. And so again, this was St. Augustine's problem, by the way. I mentioned the quote at the beginning. St. Augustine, today we would call him a sex addict. Before he was a saint, he was totally controlled by sex. This desire for sex, he just, women, it made him crazy. So this quote from St. Augustine is probably mostly about sex for him, because in his book, he wrote about this. He was very honest about it. It's called Confessions of St. Augustine. This was his big fight in life. And eventually he became a saint, and he eventually won this fight. But he did it with abstinence. He had to abstain from sex completely. And again, if you are controlled by sex, then does it mean forever you have to become a monk? No, but it can be useful. Abstain from sex for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Regain your self-control. And, focus your sex just on marriage. There's lots of things you can do to abstain and have control so it's not controlling you. And again, the media tries to use these desires against us. They use our desire for food to make us fat and lazy, and to control us. They use our desire for sex to destroy our families, right? They use our desires for alcohol to turn people into alcoholics. They use our desires against us. This is the whole message of Brave New World. We will see it when we do our next book. It's how they use our desires to control us. So these things are not individually evil, but they can be used against us if we don't control them. And abstinence is a way to regain control. Another kind of abstinence, spending money, right? Consume. This is another one. This is why I talk about simplicity. What is simplicity? Really, it means financial control. It means controlling your spending. So you can just decide, don't spend money. What about 1 week? You go 1 week, you don't spend any money at all. Could you do that? Of course, you have to make sure you buy your food before you do this. But otherwise, don't buy anything else. Don't buy any junk food. Don't buy anything. Just go to the grocery store on Monday. Buy all the food you need for 1 week to cook. Stay at home, and then if you maybe you have to buy gas or a ticket to go to work. If you ride on the train. But other than that, don't buy anything else. Total abstinence from spending. Could you do it? Do you think you could do it? You can. You could do it. It might be a nice experiment to try. Just try it. See what happens. Other things, you can just decide not to buy some things. You can decide to reduce your budget, to have a very limited budget. Again, not forever, maybe just for 1 month. Just to regain control. Some people have no control with money. They're always spending money. If they have $100, they spend $100. If they have $1,000, they spend $1,000. If they have $1 million, they spend $1 million. They can't control it. They can't stop themselves. Any amount they have, they always spend. If you give them $1 billion, they will spend $1 billion. And so again, abstinence of spending has a lot of advantages. Number one, you will save more money. You will actually save money. And when you save money, then you can invest. Then you can buy assets. Then you can start a business and get real financial freedom. To do that, you have to abstain from spending sometimes. You'll be more calm when you realize you don't have to constantly buy. This will make you more calm. You'll get more confidence. You'll have much more confidence when you realize that, the money stress is going to go down. And this will make you feel more calm, more strong, more confident when you realize you have control over money. Money is not your master. You are the master. This will give you great increased confidence, more peace in your mind. You'll also become more creative. This is why for entrepreneurs, people who start a business, I think it's better to have less money because it forces you to solve problems creatively. See, if you have $1 billion and you start a business, what happens? When you have a problem, you just spend money to try to solve the problem. You don't think. You don't think creatively. You're not innovative. You don't do anything interesting. You just spend money and solve the problem. And then you waste lots of money. A lot of businesses have too much money at the beginning. Because of that, they're never creative. They never learn to really solve problems. They spend too much. And then later, when they have a problem, the business fails. When you start with no money or very, very little money, you have to be creative. You have to learn to solve problems without spending a lot of money. You have to learn how to find customers without spending a lot of money. And in this way, you actually will make a stronger business eventually in the long term. So that abstinence helps too. So I think it's helpful to have some abstinence systems, right? Schedules where you regularly abstain. It just helps you. It's kind of like exercising, right? It's a kind of a self-control exercise to do it regularly. You could do daily. Some people fast daily. It's called intermittent fasting. It's a popular thing right now. It has some health benefits. Intermittent means kind of part-time. And what people do, intermittent fasting, is they don't eat in the morning or afternoon or night. It depends, different schedules. But basically, they avoid eating about 12 to 16 hours a day. They fast. So they fast most of the day. They only eat maybe one meal per day, something like that. Or maybe one small one and one big one. And the rest of the time, they avoid eating completely. Lots of good health benefits to that and good self-control. But you have to do it correctly, but it's a good system for fasting. And some people do that every single day. There's weekly. Some people will fast 1 day per week. Paul Bragg, who lived into his 90s, he was a very, health guru. He fasted every Sunday. Every Sunday he would not eat. He would only water on Sundays. So it was a weekly fast. Some people will do monthly fasts. Paul Bragg also did this. So once a month they will fast for 2 days or 3 days. Maybe the last 3 days of the month or the first 3 days of the month. Doesn't matter, right? But they'll once a month fasting every month. Some people do a seasonal or annual fast. Many religious fasts are like that. Ramadan, for example, is a what you could call a seasonal or annual, right? A certain once a year there's Ramadan and then everybody fasts. Lent in the Catholic tradition, maybe beyond Catholic, maybe just Christian in general. But anyway, that's again once a year abstinence tradition. You can do that yourself. You could do it on your birthday, maybe the day before your birthday or the day after your birthday or the week before your birthday. You do a fast every year. And then finally, another way to do abstinence is just as you needed, like medicine. So if you get sick, I mentioned, if I get sick, physically sick, I've got a cold, I feel bad physically, I will fast, right? Whenever I need it. It's like a kind of medicine. Or if you see your weight, you're getting too fat, fast for 1 week, and you'll get control again, and then you won't get fat. Or if you're constantly feeling tired, then no sex for 2 weeks or something like that. When you have no sex, your energy will go up. Or if you're stressed about money, then do a money fast, right? Do minimal amount of spending, right? Cut your spending super, 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 super low for 1 month so you get control again. And then your money stress will go away. You'll feel more calm. You'll feel more happy. So, right, these are just kind of systems, ways to do abstinence so that you keep that self-control. So you fight against this consumer mindset, which is so dangerous and makes us so unhappy, really. All right, let's go to the comments and questions, shall we? All right, comments and questions time. All right, I'm going to jump down to the bottom. Oh, Shara with an excellent comment. Maybe the best fasting of all. Also, we should keep a fast of bad thoughts so our mind will be healthy. Now, isn't that great? Yes, that's right. A mental fast. Now, a media fast can help this too, when you avoid media completely. I guess I didn't mention media. That's maybe a very important one. A media fast. What if you decided, okay, for 1 month, no TV, no movies, no magazines, no newspapers, no media for 1 month. Abstain from corporate media. I'll tell you what will happen. You'll feel more calm, more happy, less stress, less anger. Because fewer bad thoughts. So exactly, fasting, you can do it, of course, with your own thoughts, but especially any mental influences, especially media fast, social media fast. A cell phone fast. What about that? You turn off your cell phone every day. You don't take it with you. When you leave the house, do not take your phone with you. No looking at the internet. No social media. That's also a great form of abstinence, of fasting. Again, you don't have to do it forever, but do it for 1 month or 1 week or even just 1 day every week. Something like that. We could have 1 day a week. Every Saturday, no cell phone, no social media. Hey, how's it going? Doing a show. Baby sleeping. Kong is saying, AJ, how are you doing? I'd like to ask a question. Could I drink a beer per day? Sure. Why not? Unless you're an alcoholic. If you're an alcoholic, it's probably a very bad idea. But if you're not an alcoholic, then that's moderation. 1 beer per day is a good example of moderation. And a lot of people can do that. No problem. Asan says, how can I abstain from distraction? Well, again, I think the way you do that is you have to do a media fast. I mean, what distracts you? That would be the question. What distracts you? Most people are distracted by their cell phones, TVs, and other media. So turn it off. Turn it off for a week. See what happens. 1 week, no cell phone. People can leave a voicemail, okay? It's not a big deal, right? And you can do also, so all internet too. Just tell everybody, I'm going to be gone for a week. I will not be answering my emails. I will not be answering my phone for 1 week. Leave a message. I'll get back to you later. Try it. See what happens. Smoking, quitting smoke. He also says also smoking. Well, that one's more challenging because it is a physical addiction, but I think you just have to stop. Throw all your cigarettes away and stop completely. Now, I think that when you stop smoking, it maybe do a food fast. Also, don't eat for a week. This will help get kind of detox, get the nicotine and all that out of your body. You're probably going to feel bad for a while when you stop smoking. You maybe get headaches. I don't know. I'm not a smoker, so I don't know. But yeah, good luck to you. Al-Sabir says, Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset the whole month. As you said, it's better for health. Right. So there you go. It's a daytime fast. That's a kind of intermittent fasting, like I was talking about. So when the sun's up, you don't eat. Yeah, right. So Cardo with more benefits of fasting. Helps deep prayer, deep beliefs, right? Helps to get rid of addictions, which is what I was just saying. Yes. Helps to live simply. That's right. Helps make you calm, confident, inner peace. That is right. All correct. Here we go. Glauber is doing intermittent fasting. So he's got some. Thanks, AJ, for this great topic. I've been practicing daily intermittent fasting since last year, which has spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically incredible benefits. Effortless English, evolution-based language method provided me the resources to overcome my limitation and get the proficiency to live in Aussie land as a Brazilian contributor. All right, Aussie. Nice. So Glauber's living in Australia, it seems, and is doing intermittent fasting. A lot of people very enthusiastic about intermittent fasting. Great benefits. So maybe give it a try. Do some research about that. It does have some great health benefits and mental and emotional benefits. See, now here's an example of physical healing from Marion. Prayer and fasting is my great and memorable experience. I'll never forget because of this. My serious disease. Before that, I thought impossible to cure, but fasting proved me wrong and gave me positives in life and to be happy. So it cures disease. It really does. I mean, animals do this. Even animals know this. If an animal is sick, it will stop eating. It will rest and stop eating. Right? So when you're sick, eating food a lot of times is not so good. I mean, of course, there's a limit, but it can help. Rafikul says, abstinence from drugs, smoking, alcohol, cell phone equals self-control. Right? It means you're the master, right? Because it's too easy. These things can become our master. And then that's why long-term addicts, people who are addicted, are not happy people. Because they are not in control of their life. They have become a slave to their desires. Monica says, very good subject. Nowadays, they want us to buy. We should check what we eat, start cooking ourselves. Yes, we have to learn to cook again. I'm talking as an American. Okay, Americans don't cook at home very much now. I'm very happy my wife does. But so many she's not American. So many Americans, they just eat at restaurants all the time. Restaurant food in America is not healthy. We should start to think. This is Monica again. We should start to think what we do, addiction to food, social media, and many others. Just stop one day and think, do you control your life? Or others control your life? You can decide and avoid things that make you addicted. Yes, that's right. That's right. And see, another thing, like St. Augustine said, abstinence is easier than moderation. But the other thing is abstinence helps moderation. Abstinence helps moderation. So it's not, you don't have to choose just one. Because sometimes we're having trouble with moderation. Maybe food again, right? You're eating too much. How do you get control again? Right? We can't abstain from food forever. We'll starve to death. We'll die. So that's not even a choice. But we can abstain for a while. This helps us get control again. And then after that, after we fast, then we can be more moderate, right? More moderate, more healthy, more balanced with our eating. So just a short period of abstinence can help us get that control again when we lose it. And it happens sometimes in life. Different parts of our life, we lose that self-control. We lose the moderation. We're becoming a bit addicted. We're losing control about some pleasure, some desire. So that's a good time for abstinence. Maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe a year, however long you need. And then you have the control again. Now you can be moderate again. You can go back to balance. You get the balance back. So they can work together. Abstinence and moderation can help each other. All right. This is a topic for another podcast. Who are they who use our desires? Who indeed? Who are they? That's a good question. We can certainly say that we know at least at one level they are the owners and managers and workers in the big media, big television, magazines. I mean, there's only a few companies. For example, in the United States, I think there's 4 or 5 companies own almost every TV station, radio station, magazine, and newspaper. So who owns those companies? Who are the executives in those companies? Who controls those companies? That's part of the answer. Another part of the answer, financial. Who controls our money system? Because if you let's say Time Warner, that's one of the big owners of American media. Or Disney is another one. Huge, massive, giant companies. Well, who owns them? If you look at their stock ownership, who owns the most stock, right? Who controls those companies? You will then find it's the largest banks. So now we have to go up to another level. It's Chase Manhattan Bank, Chase Bank, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo. It's maybe 4 or 5 giant banks. I'm talking about America. In Europe, you'll find the same situation. So banks. So next you have to ask, who controls those banks? Who are the executives, right? The CEOs and the top executives. Who owns the stock in those banks? Who controls those banks? That's where the money and power is, right? We think it's the politicians, but the politicians are more like actors. They're the puppets. Who's holding the strings? Who are the puppet masters? Well, who's at the very top? I don't know, because they're very secretive. They like to hide. But we do know at least that certain banking families are very high. So that is that's my answer for now. maybe we can find out a little more. Okay, so Marian is also saying that fasting is required for every Christian. So see, Islam is fasting now, Christians fast, Buddhists fast, Hindus fast. As I said, I don't know about Sikhs, because I don't know much about Sikhism, but I would not be surprised. Can you repeat the quote? Okay, yes. This is Alina again. The quote, I'll read it again. This is St. Augustine. Complete abstinence is easier than perfect moderation. Complete abstinence is easier than perfect moderation. But Rafiko says, in some cases, I find moderation is easier than abstinence. Sometimes it is. Some situations. For example, food. I mean, eventually you have to eat, right? You can't starve forever or you will die. So obviously there are limits to this. Cardo says, agnostic peoples here in Kurdistan say fasting is super bad for your body and alcohol is the best thing. Fools. Yeah, that's crazy. What? Drink lots of alcohol and don't fast. Right. That's bad advice. Crazy. Bakir says they work in the shadows. Indeed they do. They being those at the top. We'll talk about it sometime, about who they are. I mean, we know certain families, like the Rothschild family is quite famous. George Soros. The Soros family is another one. In America, the Rockefeller family. I'm familiar with some of the American families. The Warburg family. These are banking families that go back, hundreds of years. So we know that they're at least part of the group. It's probably not everybody, but we know at least that's some of them. Sarah says, fasting makes us control and resist our lusts and tolerate what we hate. Yeah, fasting can also make us tougher, stronger, right? That you can handle discomfort, not being comfortable. Because fasting is, so for fasting, right, you're hungry. Sometimes you're hungry. And does hunger kill you? No, not for one day, or it's not going to kill you for a few hours. It's just uncomfortable. And we're too used to it now in our modern life. Everything is so comfortable and easy. And it makes us a little weak, right? It can make us kind of soft, kind of weak. So when you fast, again, it's a little bit of mental training that, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I can do it. Same with exercise. Hard exercise is nice. Lifting heavy weights. It's uncomfortable. It's painful sometimes. But again, you learn that you can handle it. You're strong. A little discomfort, a little pain, a little tiredness. No big deal. It's no problem. We can handle it. We're stronger than we think. Yeah, Arafat says, in our religion, we teach children 8 to 12 years old to fast Ramadan, the month of fasting, a few days, not the whole month, to help them prepare. Yeah, so you start early, right? They can start learning from a young age to do this. It's not going to kill them, It's not going to hurt them. It's very good for them. Okay, so see, this is interesting. Ahab, I'm going to read half of this. Fasting in Islam involves abstaining from all bodily pleasures. So, again, what you're doing, your cravings, bodily pleasures, right? Desires between dawn and sunset. So it's not just food. Mantener nuestro correcto peso es suficiente o no? To maintain our, I'll translate this to English. To maintain our correct weight is sufficient, is enough, or no? Sufficient for what? It's, having like a nice weight, maintaining a nice weight, is a sign of moderation. It means you're not eating too much. Right, you can see it in your body, right? If someone eats too much, they become fat. So it's a physical, you can see it with your eyes. You know someone's eating too much, or at least too much bad, unhealthy food. And if someone is, basically thin, some thin people can be unhealthy. They can eat some junk still. So it's not a guarantee, but still, generally, thinner people, are more controlled. They're more moderate with their food. You can see it by looking at their body. Their body shows it. This is why you go to the United States and more than half the people are fat. They're not moderate. They lack control. They lack self-control. They're food addicts. They're eating junk. They don't have control with food. How do you know? Just look at their bodies. It's obvious. You can just see it with your eyes. Immediately, And if you come here to Japan, you look around, everybody's thin. Immediately, the Japanese are more controlled with their food. They have more self-control with food. You don't even need to talk to them. You don't need to see them eat. Just look at their bodies and right? The physical body tells you. So you can travel to whole countries and just look at the people, and immediately is their food basically healthy? Do they have some kind of self-control? Or you go to places like America, England, Mexico, and that they don't because lots of people are so fat. I'm American, so I'm not saying they're evil, but Americans don't have self-control. They have lost self-control about food. They've lost self-discipline about food. They're food addicts to most Americans, many Americans. And also many Americans are specifically addicted to junk food, sugary, bad food. They just are. It's sad, actually. It makes me very sad to visit America to see that. I don't like it. Bear, while I appreciate the practice for Spanish for me, if you can, try to write in English. Don't worry if you make a mistake. It's okay if it's not perfect. Do your best. Just try to write your comment in English. I understand your comments here because it's pretty easy Spanish, but many people don't understand Spanish. Thank you. Muhammad says, you can fast no matter what religion you are. Exactly. As I mentioned, all these major religions have a fasting tradition. They all encourage fasting. They all say that fasting is good. So, obviously Islam right now, they're fasting. Buddhism, a famous story is that Buddha fasted for a long, long, long time. You'll find like if you visit Thailand, Myanmar, you'll see some like statues of Buddha, and he's super thin with ribs, because he was fasting so much. Jesus very famously fasted. So you find this. It's in so many areas you'll find it. Fasting is the soul fighting against human desires. That's a nice quote, Sukar. The soul fighting against human desires. I would say it's the soul becoming the master of human desires. The soul becoming the master of material body, right? It's deciding who is the master, which one's higher, your soul, the spirit, or material, the body, right? And of course, now in our modern world, the media tells us it's material, just the material world. Your body, your physical desires are the most important. In fact, they'll tell you you don't have a soul, you don't have a spirit. Reason is not important. But this fasting and abstinence in general is you're changing that situation, and you're saying, no. My mind, my soul, my spirit is the master, is the highest. And the body, the physical, is under it. It's the servant. Okay, it's not that the body's bad, but the body must be the servant of the soul, not the opposite. If the soul is under, If you put your mind, your soul under the body, you let the body's desires control you, you will not be happy, okay? You will have a very unhappy life. They're lying to us about this. Of course, these are old ideas, Aristotle wrote about this 2,500 years ago. Okay, Alexi with a nice comment, nice long one. Fasting is like a break for your body and mind. Yeah, that's a nice way to think of it. It's also just a rest. It's kind of like giving your body and your mind some time to rest. I used to eat a lot of candies and all the sugar, especially in my childhood. Me too. But suddenly, when I grew up, I stopped because I realized I don't want to be a victim that runs to the grocery store to buy another dose to fill your body with harmful sugar. Yep. I made up for myself one rule. If you want to eat something that tastes sweet, that you can't withstand, you can just buy fruit and vegetables and mix them in the blender. In this way, you'll get, of course, natural sugar that you wanted, and also, most important, vitamins and minerals. Yeah, see, that's a great. Me too. I'll if I find myself eating too much sugar, it happens sometimes when I get stressed. Just recently, with the stress from the babies and the hospital and all that, I started eating candies and sugar and stuff. And I realized, okay, I got to stop it. So this is a good way too. Fasting is one way to do it that I often will do. And another way, like you said, is just, to avoid any processed sugar. Just eat, I like figs and dates. They're sweet. They have natural sugar, but they're healthy. They have minerals and vitamins and fiber. Of course, you don't want to eat too much, but, apples and figs and dates and, on and on. Bananas, these are all healthy and natural forms of sugar. So that's also another form of moderation, right? Another kind of moderation is that you control yourself so that you choose these things in a healthy way. Good example, Alexi. Very nice. Yeah, like Imran says, thank you for this topic. I'm from Bangladesh. Fasting is good not only for the body, but also for the mind to control ourselves. Exactly. Probably that the mind control is really the mind. Again, the mind is the master. Again, Buddhists use the example, the horse and the rider. The mind is the rider. Spirit, soul is the rider that controls the horse. The horse is the physical, the body, the physical desires. Of course, we have a body. Of course, we must eat. We must do these things. But we should have our reason, our mind, our soul, our spirit, however you want to think about it. But your higher self is in control of the horse. When the horse is the master, then, right, that's a problem. Like Asan says, the deepest, and I agree with this, the deepest meaning of fasting is to discover God's presence within us. Well, that's exactly right. That's why Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, even Mahatma Gandhi, honestly, many saints, that's why they fasted. They were going for this deepest level. But you don't have, even if you're not interested in the deepest level, or you think that the deepest level is too difficult for you, you can still enjoy all these other benefits. Now, see, there's another good comment. I think that's an Arabic name, so I can't read it. Outside of the holy month, many people, Muslim and non-Muslim, choose to incorporate fasting into their everyday lives as a way to improve their health, lose weight, increase brain functions. Yeah, right. See, I think that we have to remember these benefits. Some people, maybe they think, I'm Muslim, so I must fast this month. That's a bad attitude, right? Don't do it with this mindset like, I have to do this because it's the rules, right? That's kind of a very negative way to do it. Or if you're a Christian and you say it's Lent, I have to abstain from something. You're missing the spirit of it. You're forgetting the benefits. You want to do it with a positive mindset that this is, maybe it's difficult, but it's something that's strong and positive and good. So you're doing it you're smiling while you're doing it. You're doing it feeling the benefits and reminding yourself of the benefits. And also, don't just do it because, oh, you must do it now. Well, you can do it all the time. Like he's saying, you can do it anytime. Like I said, anytime I feel bad, my energy drops, I'm feeling sick, I'll just do it. Or I'm losing control of sugar, for example. Okay, maybe I should fast now. Paul Bragg, the great health teacher in America, who lived a very long and healthy life, he just did it. He did it every week. I think for him it was Sunday, I think. Anyway, it was 1 day per week. He fasted 24 hours every single week. It was 1 day a week. I think it was every Sunday. He fasted every Sunday. And then I think it was I can't remember, every month or every 3 months, maybe every 3 months. He did a longer fast every season. And he would fast for like 7 days every 3 months. So yeah, play around with it. Just experiment. Try different. You could try the intermittent fasting like Glauber mentioned, where you're fasting. Oh, it's very similar to the Ramadan fast, where you're doing kind of a partial day fast. You're fasting for a lot of the day. Now, Ramadan is very specific about sunrise to sunset, but for intermittent fasting, it depends. Some people will prefer to fast more at night and morning, and they'll eat in the afternoon. It's the same idea that you're just reducing the number of hours per day that you fast. That's also very nice. Many people have great benefits from that. They really feel good when they do that. So just research that. Do research about it. Maybe I'll do a show about intermittent fasting in the future. I'd love to actually interview somebody about it. There's one writer, like a health writer, I know, who talks about this. Maybe I'll see if I can interview him. Sarah says, I'm very thin, but I eat like a horse. It's not logical. Yes, well, see, the thing is, though, this moderation and eating specifically, it does depend on your level of activity. It depends on your age. So there's different things, right? Like an athlete what is moderate for an athlete is different than moderation for someone who never exercises. If you are an athlete and you're working hard physically every single day, you have to eat more. Maybe you eat 3 times more than most people. That's still moderate for you because it's still balanced with your activity level, right? The problem in America is they do very little exercise, average people. They're not moving very much physically, but they're eating a lot. It's out of balance. It's not natural, and that's why they are so unhealthy. The best is to walk. Let's see, you're a teacher, not a textbook reader. You are really a teacher. Arafat says, you're really a teacher, not a textbook reader. Thank you. That's right. I don't like textbooks. It's so boring. It's not teaching. Just reading a book, textbook is not teaching. Min, how can I find those interesting stories of Buddha, I wonder? There are what are they called? Jakarta tales you can get. I'm sure they're in Vietnamese because I have them in English. So Vietnam's a Buddhist country, so I'm sure you can get them. Jakarta tales. There are, of course, the Tripitaka Sutras. Lots of sources for that. Yes, Lent. Okay, here. Good. Pablo talking about Lent. Here in Brazil, we have an important Catholic tradition. During the Lent period, many people fast from eating or drinking something. But I mean, it's also an issue of knowing ourselves and looking for fast. For example, from gossip, from lying, and trying to cultivate patience. Hugs. Yeah, right. That's the idea of Lent, is that you abstain and that I like that idea, because the idea with Lent, like what Pablo's saying, is that each individual must be honest about themselves. They must abstain from something that is controlling them, that is unhealthy, right? So maybe some people, food is not a problem, right? Many people, they really don't have a strong desire for food. It's not a big deal, no problem. So to abstain from food is fairly easy for them. Or, like I said, alcohol is another example. Like for me, to abstain from alcohol, is that a big spiritual practice for me? It's not, because I don't like it. So it's not hard for me to do it, okay? I need no self-control at all. Zero self-control to not drink. Why? Because I hate it. It tastes bad to me. So it requires no self-discipline for me to abstain from alcohol. On the other hand, to abstain from sugar requires a lot of self-discipline for me, because I like the taste of sugar. And as Alexander said, I grew up and eating sweet things, and when I get stressed, I desire sweet food. So that is really a better practice for me, for self-control, for abstinence, more mental benefits if I abstain from sugar, if I focus on that. And of course, for a different person, for an alcoholic, it's very, very different. They love alcohol. They're addicted to it. To abstain from alcohol for them is a huge, powerful struggle and challenge. So this is nice, that in Lent, each person chooses. And I think the idea is with Lent is you choose something that will test you, that will help you the most. Don't choose something that's easy. So thank you, Pablo. JD from Mexico. Hey. Good to see you, JD. Thank you for the topic. Very interesting. Yes, indeed. Pradeep says, "Hi, sir. Your lessons are amazing. You're the best teacher I've ever seen." Thank you so much, Pradeep. Thank you. Mikal from Poland, guitar player. How much time have you used paleo? I've done paleo at different times. Like right now, I'm trying to get back to more paleo. As I said, the stress with all my babies, I kind of got stressed out. I started eating a bunch of bad food. Gained a little weight. So now I'm moving back to more of a paleo diet again. This tends to happen with me, is that I'll do paleo for a while and then I'll sort of lose it, and then I'll come back to it, and then I'll lose it and I'll come back to it. But overall, it keeps me, I don't get too heavy. I stay fairly healthy. My energy's good. So I've in doing it like this, kind of not super consistently, but just in general doing it for maybe the last 3 or 4 years, maybe something like that. This is a nice thought, too. Hakeem says, fasting prompts you to remember poor people who do not have food. Yeah, in general, it creates a more appreciation, right? You will appreciate food after that. Anytime you abstain from something, you will appreciate it more. My favorite example of this is camping in America. I used to go camping a lot in America. And when you go camping, you have to carry your food. So you can't carry heavy food, right? You can't carry big, nice meals. You only usually can carry very simple foods that are light. You can easy to make in the woods, in the mountains. So and then what you do is you start and you're carrying everything, and you're then hiking in the mountains, up and down mountains all day, and then at night cook food. And usually I would be starving, so hungry, because, carrying everything on my back, maybe 40 pounds, 20 kilos, and in the mountains. And so finally, sit down at night and make a fire and cook my food and eat it. Just something very simple. But always, always the food would taste amazing. I was like, it tastes fantastic. This is so good. Really appreciate the food. But then later, maybe a week later, I'm at home and I make the same food at home in the kitchen. Doesn't taste so great. Nothing special. Why not? Because in the mountains I was really, really, really hungry, hiking all day, carrying heavy weight, working really hard, so hungry. And so this simple food tasted wonderful because I had kind of partially fasted, right? Partly fasted and exercised so much. But then at home, not working, just normal, just eating whatever, anytime, then would lose my appreciation for that simple food. And a lot of people do this, when they go camping, like in America, we kind of have this idiom in America, everything tastes better in the mountains, right? It's kind of true. Whoa, that comment's way too long for me. Sorry. Ong says, baby's crying sound is so cute. Lots of love to you and family, AJ. Thank you. Luckily, she's sleeping. Where do you live? Arafat says, I'm in Japan. Aung, yes, Aung also says, come visit Myanmar, please. I do want to visit Myanmar. Okay, just reading, trying to catch up. You guys are typing fast. Mikhail says, I'm not fat, but abstaining from pizza is hard for me. Yeah, we all have our weakness. We kind of say comfort food, right? In English, comfort food. Often it's a food from your childhood, right? Some food that you kind of connect in your mind to when you were a child, that maybe it was a little special food or you really liked it as a child, pizza, ice cream, might be some traditional food from your culture. And then when you, maybe when you're stressed or something, you kind of want that comfort food because it makes you feel comfortable, reminds you of home and maybe your parents, and right. So it's kind of a normal thing. It's not bad sometimes. It's okay. Moderation, right? Moderation. A little pizza won't kill you. Just don't eat it all the time. Now, Bakir has an interesting question. How can I fast from sleeping too much? A sleep fast. Sleep fast is not so fun. I don't recommend fasting from sleep. I recently did have a sleep fast. I had about 1 month sleep fast because of the babies and the stress. And I can tell you it's not healthy to avoid all sleep. It's not good. It will not help you. You won't enjoy it. So what you're looking for with sleep is moderation. This is a case where you don't want to fast, okay? You don't want to abstain from sleep. Abstaining from sleep will not do good things to you. In my experience, it doesn't help. But what you're asking is really, you're sleeping too much is the key word, the key phrase. So what you need is moderation. So here's what you do, just to reduce your sleep. I don't know what too much is for you. Imagine you're sleeping 12 hours a day. So set your alarm and, for 1 week, sleep 11 hours a day. Cut back one hour. Then the next week, cut back 1 more hour, back to 10 hours. See how you feel. Then try to cut back to 9 hours. See how you feel. Then come back to 8 hours. And, usually for most people, somewhere between 6 to 9 hours is you'll feel best. You'll feel good. Some people need, and some people benefit from a little more sleep, more like 9 hours. I'm one of those people, actually. I like to sleep about 9 hours is really perfect for me. 8 to 9. Some people do better with a little less sleep, more like 6 hours, 6 to 7. And they just have better energy. They feel better. So you just got to find that point that works for you, what's best. And it might change as you get older. When you're younger, maybe you need 9 hours, and when you're older, maybe 7's enough, right? So it can change, but just find that and just adjust, like 1 hour at a time, little changes, and you'll find that balance that you need. Joaquim says, no sugar in my coffee at all. Me too. No sugar. In fact, I don't like sugar in coffee now. If I taste sugar in coffee, I don't like the taste. It tastes weird to me. Oh, Mikal says, yeah, thanks. I asked you because you often talked about vegan. Yeah, I've tried a lot of different ways of eating. Vegan specific, I tried vegan. I really had in my mind that vegan was the best way to eat. For many years, I thought this. And I tried, and you know what? I couldn't do it. It just was, for me, it just was not healthy. Every time I tried it, I felt worse, much worse. And in terms of just health benefits, I know that for vegetarians that there are other reasons they do it. But just for health and energy and how I feel, paleo primal works best for me. Maybe not for everybody, but for me. But, my ancestors, my family, I got the blue eyes. So they're northerners, Vikings and Scots from the far north, where they kind of had that kind of diet. So I don't know. I don't know the reason why, but I just know that works for me. Yeah, here's a nice Ahmed says, here in Kurdistan, we have an important tradition, Islamic tradition. During the Ramadan, people fast from eating or drinking, but you don't have to gossip or talk behind people's backs. See, that's great. So it's not just a fasting of food, but it's also a fasting from, speaking badly. Buddhists call this right speech. Hindus also, Dharmis, call this right speech, not wrong speech. So it's a very much a mental, moral fast as well. Have you ever fasted, AJ? Yes, many times I have fasted. I think I'm going to do it again soon. I think I need to. Giuliano, I'm very thin. I eat a lot. Maybe if I fasted, I would increase my weight. Possibly. If you didn't do it too much, you might. Because there is that thing with growth hormone. What you might increase is your muscle. Especially if you combined with some kind of strength exercise, push-ups or pull-ups or weightlifting, and then you did some fasting, intermittent fasting. You might actually increase weight, but muscle weight, not fat weight, which is the best way to do it. This is why many bodybuilders do this kind of fasting, because it actually helps them to gain muscle. You have to follow the right schedule, the right system. You have to eat enough protein. There are kind of different things you must follow, but you can gain weight by fasting. It is true, but you gain muscle. So you just do research about it. I don't know the details about this, but I do know some bodybuilders fast. Muhammad Hamori says, I bought your effortless English course 6 months ago. Every day I'm getting better and better. And by the way, I'm still repeating the repetition lesson. Actually, it's the best way for learning any language, by repeating over and over again. Yes, that's deep learning, and it is very, very, very important in all things, English and all things. So thank you, Muhammad. That's great. Yeah, Joaquim talks about one of my lessons. Bubba in a fat camp in Russia. Yes. Okay. Okay, now here's an interesting question. Ramachandradi, I think you've commented before. How do I get rid of laziness? Daily, I want to get up early in the morning when my alarm rings, but I put it off and I continue to sleep. I don't know what to do. Uh-oh. All right, well, there are kind of two strategies for this, I would say. I'll tell you one popular strategy, and then I'll tell you my strategy. I have the Taoist strategy for this. The non-Taoist, what I would call maybe the military strategy, is to just be tough. Get up earlier. Stop crying about it. Just do it. Right? This is like the Navy SEAL. There's this Navy SEAL guy. He's kind of popular. He wrote some books. I've seen him on some podcasts. His name is Jocko Willink, something like that. He gets up. He wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, and he immediately starts doing exercise. He wakes up at 4 a.m., does hard exercise, starts working. This is the tough guy approach, man. Stop crying about it. Just get up and do it. It doesn't matter if you're tired. Do it. Rah! Right? So that seems to work for a lot of people. So if you can try that, right? Just do it. If you're tired, doesn't matter. Just force yourself to do it every day. My approach, the Taoist approach, is a little different about laziness. My approach is to not force things, but to actually kind of go with nature. So I'm like you in a way, as I'm not really I'm not an early morning person. I have tried and tried many times to wake up early and work. And it always feels like I'm fighting against myself. So instead I just started to notice myself. When do I have more energy? So I have my best energy is late morning and night. Those are the two times in the day where I have the most mental and physical energy. So instead of fighting, I'll wake up late, but then I focus my work. I focus my work time when I have the best energy, naturally. So in the early morning, that's when I do my physical exercise. I go for a walk. I'll lift weights. I'll do kettlebells. Can you? Huh? Just you. Oh, just her? Yeah. Okay, somebody's waiting. One second. Gotta pause for a second. We have to give baby to mom. Hi, baby. Okay, I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished. She did. Oh, bye-bye. See you in a second. See you soon. Okay. So anyway, you work with your own nature, right? So instead of trying to force yourself to do work or to get up when you're tired, you use the time when you do have energy. Like right now, it's nighttime in Japan, and I'm doing this show. I have a lot of energy right now. I feel really good. My thinking is clear. Well, this works for me. I'm a night person. Always in my life, I have been a night person. I like staying up late. I have good energy at night. I'm more creative at night. So I just use it. Some people are really tired at night. They can't work. So that's the easier way. You can try the Navy SEAL military way if you want, or you can try my way, which is just figure out when you have the most energy during the day, and then schedule your most important work for those times. You know, doing physical exercise, and you're doing whatever work you need to do. Do your most important things and those times, and then relax during the other times. All right, I need to go and get some food and help mom with the baby. I'll take one more. Let's see. Okay, I have a question for why people saying cute baby, cute baby. All right, I think I've got all the questions. Okay, Jasmine, I'll answer this last question, which is a different topic, but it's about English. AJ, can you suggest to me some American books to improve my my understanding skill of American English reading? Well, this is a common question I get all the time, and it's hard for me to do this because my answer is that you have to choose books that you like, that you are interested in. So if I can tell you some of my favorite books, but they might not be interesting to you, or they might be too difficult for you. Some of them certainly are too high level, probably. So you really got to figure out, you got to find some easier books that you like. So you have to, what kind of stories do you like? Do you like mystery? Do you like romance? Do you like nonfiction, like history? Do you like philosophy? Do you like religion? Do you like business books? Right? See, there's so many kinds. So the general idea is, choose topics that you really are interested in, something you would read in your own language, and then try to find, fairly simple, easier books in English with those same topics. I know that's a very general answer, but that's, I think, the best answer I can give you to do that. All right, so that's it for today. Abstinence. Fasting, you can abstain from food, you can abstain from sex, you can abstain from media, you can abstain from negativity, you can abstain from gossip, you can abstain from spending. All of these things, very, very helpful to do at different times. So good luck to you, and lots of love to you. Now, as always, you can train with me with my Effortless English VIP program. That's right here at effortlessenglishclub.com. You can join. You can try it for just $1. That's a 10-day membership, or that's a trial membership. That's a good way to try it, effortlessenglishclub.com. But of course, for benefits, to speak powerfully and fluently, to think in English, you need that repetition. You need to commit. You must commit and not quit. This is all things in life, but certainly with English. So when you join that VIP program, don't just join, you also must commit, don't quit. And do that. Go to today, effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com. Lots of love to you. Have a great day. See you next time.